For weeks, protesters have been on the streets of Belarus, demonstrating day and night against a government they believe is illegitimate, and a president who they believe stole their general election. These people hope the outside world is listening. In Berlin on Friday, the EU answered, singling out for new sanctions the leaders of the government in Minsk.
There was a political agreement among ministers to designate selected individuals responsible for the fraudulent elections in Belarus and for the subsequent crackdown under the existing Belarus sanction regime. This designation shall include individuals at the high political level.
But the Belarusian president, who hasn't been sanctioned himself, is unmoved. Alexander Lukashenko says if more sanctions come, he will cut off transit routes through his country for EU goods destined for Russia and the Baltic states. He says he will listen to farmers, workers and students' collectives, but not those on the streets.
The violent thugs who roam the streets and shout that they want a dialogue, they don't want dialogue, and nobody from the authorities will hold any negotiations on the street. If there are sane people from the opposition which see its country as free and independent, welcome.
But while he wants to be seen as ready to listen, Lukashenko has put his armed forces in combat-ready mode and appealed to Russia for help. President Vladimir Putin has said he is prepared to send a police reserve if necessary. Some people in the West have likened the opposition movement in Belarus to those that toppled communism in Eastern Europe in the late 1980s. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel lived through those times in East Berlin, which is why she feels an empathy with the protesters in Belarus and believes their grievances should be heard.
I hope the groups that have now courageously taken to the streets, the people who have denounced abuses, that they will have that degree of freedom which we can take for granted, freedom of demonstration, freedom of opinion.
By bringing in targeted sanctions, the EU is trying to deliver a clear message to Alexander Lukashenko. But in return, his message is equally clear. He is not going anywhere anytime soon. Dominic, Kane, Al Jazeera, Berlin.